Right now, a lot of men are being told what makes them valuable. They're being told that a man's worth is measured by what he has, what he produces, and how other people see him. His money, his status, his influence, and also the level of respect that he has. And if a man has these things, he's what people are calling a high value man. Now, this raises an important question. If that's the standard, where does Jesus Christ fit into it? See, at its core, the idea, well, it seems simple. It's saying that a man is considered valuable if he's successful, if he's visible, if he's respected, and also desired. And because of that, a lot of men are structuring their lives around pursuing material things. Now, I want to say this clearly. There's nothing wrong with working hard. There's nothing wrong with building your life. There's nothing wrong with discipline or growth. I actually talk a lot about those things on this channel. But there's a difference between building your life on financial affluency and building your identity on internal values. Two different things. And this is where the shift happens. So let's take the definition of a high value man and apply it to Jesus. In Luke chapter 9, verse 58, Jesus is speaking of himself, and he says this. He says, the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Jesus didn't have wealth. He didn't have status among the powerful. He didn't have political influence either. He spent his time with fishermen, with tax collectors, and with poor people. He was rejected by the religious leaders of his day. He was misunderstood by large crowds. And many who followed him eventually walked away. And at the end of his life, he was crucified. He wasn't honored. He wasn't celebrated. He was crucified. So if you measure him by the modern definition, Jesus would not be considered a high value man. Now that creates a very serious problem, because if your definition of a high value man cannot recognize Christ, then your definition is wrong. It's not slightly off, it's broken. And why? Because you have a system that measures a man's value by what he appears to be, by what he can produce, and how other people respond to him, instead of who he actually is as a person. It doesn't take into consideration the values by which he actually lives his life. Now, I want to be very clear here. A man should work. A man should also build. And a man should take responsibility. I talk a lot about those things. But the amount of money he has in his bank account, or the amount of money he earns, that does not define his overall value as a man. Because you can have a high earning man and still have a values corruption internally inside that exact same man. So what actually defined Jesus? And what kind of value did he have? Where was his value actually at? Well, it certainly wasn't his wealth. It also wasn't his status. It wasn't his influence either. It was his character. He was disciplined. He was grounded. And his values were completely aligned with the will of God the Father. Jesus was steady. He was faithful. He was trustworthy. He protected those who could not protect themselves, even though it cost him his life. So now it becomes evident. A high value man is a man with high values. He's steady when no one is watching. He's disciplined without needing recognition. He's trustworthy even when it costs him something. He does what is right, whether anyone affirms it or not. That is strength. So now the question changes. It's no longer, am I becoming a high value man? The real question is this: am I becoming a man who has high values? Because one of those depends on the world. The other one stands no matter what the world says. Which one are you?